was alone on stage, the last man standing. As Barry Gibb looked into the crowd that once screamed for three brothers, his voice cracked, not from age, but from something heavier: grief, guilt, regret. Because even after Robin died, the silence between them hadn't ended. There had been no reconciliation, no final phone call, just bitterness, unanswered messages, and decades of tension that never found peace. They were still fighting, even after death. Behind the music, behind the matching white suits and harmonies that defined an era, were endless grudges and secrets. Robin accused Barry of stealing the spotlight. Barry thought Robin was unstable. Maurice drank to numb the fallout. Some say Robin threatened to burn tapes. Others whisper that Barry refused to visit him in his final days. Even their fans picked sides. Were the Bee Gees built on love or rivalry? The Bee Gees gave us harmony, but behind the scenes, they were coming apart at the seams. And as one brother faded into silence, the other was left haunted by everything that was never said. You're watching RetroWaves, where legends rise, fall, and leave behind the truth no one saw coming. Subscribe now for more untold stories that shook the world of music. They weren't born stars. They were born scrappy, sons of a bandleader father and a music-loving mother. Their first gigs were miming songs at movie theaters in Australia, entertaining audiences during intermissions. It was a hustle, but the voices were real. In 1963, they got their first break on the Aussie TV show Bandstand. Barry took lead vocals, Robin followed with his treble tone vibrato, and Maurice filled in the magic between. Producers noticed they sounded like blood because they were.
As long as I'm living, I'll always be giving you my...
Their first chart success in Australia, Spicks and Specks,
Left far behind the Spicks and the Specks.
caught the attention of British producer Robert Stigwood. He invited them back to England, and in 1967 they released New York Mining Disaster 1941.
In the event of something happening to me.
The Beatles themselves reportedly mistook it for one of their own. By 1968, they were international stars. Bee Gees first and Horizontal delivered back-to-back hits. To Love Somebody.
You don't know what it's like.
I Started a Joke.
I looked at the skies.
World.
It rains every day.
These weren't just songs, they were anthems of aching, floating on harmonies that felt carved from soul and sorrow. But fame, even then, was uneven. Barry, as the eldest, was naturally positioned out front. His baritone led most hits. He was confident, polished, and the label saw star power. Robin, with his tremulous voice and eccentric edge, was often kept in the background. Maurice, while musically versatile, was hardly ever treated as a co-lead. The first fractures were invisible to fans, but insiders noticed. Barry often called the shots in the studio. Robin resented the press dubbing Barry the heart of the Bee Gees. Maurice tried to play the clown, keeping them laughing, but even he confessed to friends that he felt like a glue stick holding together paper on fire. Still, the hits came, and with every success, the cracks got harder to see, but deeper underneath. By 1969, Robin couldn't hold it in any longer. Manchester, post-war England. Cold, gray streets. Three boys with no money, no connections, just the raw, uncanny ability to sound like a choir when they sang together. Barry, Robin, Maurice. Their voices could lift sorrow out of a room. They got their start in Australia as teen pop stars, but everything changed when they returned to the UK. Within months, the Bee Gees became darlings of the pop world. Their melodies were haunting, their harmonies otherworldly. New York Mining Disaster, 1941. To Love Somebody, Massachusetts, but success bred shadows. From the beginning, Barry was the chosen one. He was older, he was the face. The industry leaned on him. Interviews, photo shoots, cover stories. Barry was always front and center. Robin, though equally talented, felt pushed aside. He told friends he was just the weird one, the one the press never wanted to interview alone. Maurice, meanwhile, tried to play peacekeeper. He was easygoing, funny, eager to laugh, but even he felt the pressure. In private, he started drinking. He kept showing up. But there was always a bottle somewhere near. The world saw magic. The brothers felt fractures. The cracks widened in 1969 when Robin officially left the group. He believed he had been undermined. Their single, 1st of May, had Barry on lead vocals and was promoted heavily.
You and I, our love will never die.
Robin's song, Lamplight, was placed as the B-side. To Robin, it wasn't just a creative decision, it was sabotage. He left the Bee Gees and launched a solo career.
Greatest regret is that every brother I've lost was in a moment when we were not getting on. And so I have to live with that. Yeah. I'm the last man standing.
You all right?
Yeah. I'll never be able to understand that because I'm the eldest.
His album, Robin's Reign, produced one hit, Saved by the Bell. But commercially, it paled in comparison to the group's previous success. Barry continued recording with Maurice, pushing on without Robin. Barry, meanwhile, felt Robin had become erratic. He was frustrated by Robin's behavior and mood swings, reportedly telling people, "Robin is brilliant, but he's impossible to work with for long." Maurice stayed behind with Barry, but privately he was suffering. The tension between his twin and older brother broke him down emotionally. He began drinking more heavily, relying on humor and charm to mask how torn he felt. Journalists speculated on the split. Some cited creative disputes, others whispered about personal insults behind the scenes. Robin had allegedly accused Barry of trying to erase him from the band. There were rumors that Robin and Barry had clashed violently over songwriting credits. One biographer claimed a producer once had to separate them in the studio. The press only fueled the flames, often framing Barry as the ambitious leader and Robin as the eccentric twin with a persecution complex. Neither brother denied the feud. They just let the music speak louder, temporarily. By 1970, they reconciled, briefly. But even in reunion, there was division. The disco era brought a renaissance. Barry's falsetto, debuted on Nights on Broadway, became the Bee Gees' new signature. With it came fame on a new level. Saturday Night Fever made them global icons, but it also made Barry the undeniable frontman. Robin hated falsetto, hated disco, hated being in the background. It became Barry and the Bee Gees, Robin said years later. I was just an accessory. The band was selling millions, but they were breaking inside. Maurice descended further into alcoholism, even as he remained loyal to both sides. Barry grew more guarded, controlling the studio and pushing forward. Robin grew more isolated, questioning his role, his voice, his purpose. By the early 1980s, after the disco backlash, the Bee Gees were quietly blacklisted by the U.S. industry. Their songs stopped charting. Their fame dimmed. The world moved on. Internally, things were worse. Robin took more solo ventures, feeling stifled. Barry poured himself into writing and producing for others: Diana Ross, Barbra Streisand, Dionne Warwick, Kenny Rogers. He became a star outside the group. Robin reportedly resented that. He felt Barry was abandoning the Bee Gees to chase solo glory. And then came the deepest wound of all, Andy. In 1969, everything collapsed. Robin walked away from the Bee Gees. It wasn't sudden. The signs had been there. He felt betrayed when Barry's song, "First of May," was picked as a single over his own. He believed their manager was favoring Barry. He told reporters he was going solo. Barry was livid. He called Robin immature, publicly dismissed his new album, said it was experimental at best. Behind closed doors, the two weren't speaking. Maurice tried to play mediator, but was falling into alcoholism. At times, he felt invisible. Rumors from the era suggest Robin threatened to destroy master tapes from their sessions. Barry allegedly blocked Robin from using the Bee Gees' name on his solo work. The tabloids printed unverified claims of screaming matches, stolen lyrics, and studio sabotage. Even after they reunited, the old issues returned. The disco years made them bigger than ever, thanks largely to Barry's falsetto reinventing their sound. Staying Alive, Night Fever, How Deep Is Your Love? But Robin hated disco, hated falsetto, hated feeling like backup. He reportedly told close friends, "We became Barry Gibb and the Bee Gees." More rumors? Robin accused Barry of stealing melody ideas. Barry once called Robin's solo ambitions a waste of time. Maurice wrote in a journal entry, leaked after his death, that every time I get them to speak again, something explodes. They fought over songwriting credits, over direction, over who was the real creative force. Then came Andy. The youngest Gibb brother, Andy, rose fast and crashed faster. Addicted, lost, dead at 30. His death devastated them, but instead of uniting the Bee Gees, it deepened the fractures. Barry took charge of the family image. Robin felt silenced. Maurice drowned in grief and more alcohol. They argued over Andy's posthumous music, who should sing what, how he should be remembered. The wounds never healed. Then, in 2003, the unimaginable. Maurice, the glue, the bridge, died from a twisted intestine. Robin and Barry barely spoke after. Robin wanted to continue as the Bee Gees. Barry refused. He said without Maurice, there was no Bee Gees. They disagreed on documentaries, tribute shows, how to handle legacy albums. Barry was accused of freezing Robin out of key decisions. Robin allegedly planned solo projects using Bee Gees branding. Lawyers got involved, family dinners stopped, then Robin got sick, liver and colon cancer. It spread fast. Barry didn't visit publicly. Some say he reached out. Others say Robin rejected the calls. What we do know, there was no reunion, no final interview, no harmony. In 2012, Robin died, and Barry finally broke. In a rare interview, he said, "We weren't talking at the end, and I'll never get that back." His voice cracked, his eyes dropped. "I just wanted 5 minutes to say sorry." But time doesn't offer do-overs. Now Barry Gibb stands alone, the last Bee Gee. He performs their song solo, his voice echoing with ghosts. At Glastonbury, when the crowd sang "How Deep Is Your Love?", Barry nearly couldn't finish. His tears said what words never did. He admits now that he was cold, that he let pride ruin what mattered. In interviews, he talks about grief like it's a shadow he carries everywhere. He released his solo album, In the Now, and dedicated tracks to his brothers. One song simply ends with the line, "We never said goodbye." He works with his children now. And when asked about the Bee Gees' legacy, he says, "It was love, it was pain, it was everything." But the biggest hits in music history came with the deepest personal cost. Barry Gibb still sings. But the harmony is gone. What began as a dream between three brothers became a battlefield of ego, grief, and regret. They fought to the top. They fought behind closed doors. And in the end, they were still fighting, even after one of them died. Because sometimes the music outlives the love, and the silence after says everything.